Hello everyone and welcome to this lecture on Python variables, one of the most fundamental concept in Python programming. I am Dr. Mehar and in this session we will explore what variables are, why they are important, how Python handles variable and how they are used in real world programming applications. Variables form the foundation of data storage and manipulation in any programming language. Whether you are developing software application, performing scientific computations, analyzing data, or building artificial intelligence models, variables play a central role in managing information efficiently. Let's begin our journey into understanding the Python variables. So, before that, what are the main objectives behind to understand the learning variables? By the end of this lecture, you will be able to understand the concept of variable in Python, learn how variables store and reference data, create and assign values to the variable, understand Python's dynamic typing mechanism, identify different data type that variables can hold, follow standard naming conventions and best practices, apply variables effectively in Python programs. So these concepts will serve as the foundation of all future programming topic. So here you can see this is my desktop and Jupyter notebook I have opened here, and the content which I want to present here during this session, I have prepared this file, okay, and I will go through this entire file. Each concept which we are required to understand, I will demonstrate from this page, okay. So here the topic is mainly Python variable. First question arises, actually what is variable in the Python? Simply, if we say a variable is named memory location used to store the data values. So if we have some information and we have to define some variable we want to store, and for the storing we are required one particular variable where we want to store, and after that we can use the same value by using the variable name. Okay, so it acts as a container that holds information which can be accessed, modified, and used throughout a program. In simple term, a variable is like a labeled box where you can store data and retrieve it whenever needed. And here is the definition of the variable. Variable is an identifier, or you can say the name, that refers to the value stored in the memory, okay, and allows a program to access and manipulate that value during the execution. If we see the syntax of the variable, so here on the left hand side we will put the name of the variable, and right hand side whatever you have the value which you want to store inside variable we can put here. So right hand side we have the value of the variable and left hand side we have the name of the variable. For example, here you can see, so these are the Python codes, and as we have discussed that we are not required to declare the variable, just we are using here the name of the variable and we store some information. So whether you have the number, you have the float value, you have the data set, you have the string, you can have list. So all these we can store by using some name of the variable. So here you can see on the right hand side, this is my name. So name is appear like a string. So I have this string I wanted to store in one variable. So I put on the left hand side the name of the variable is name. And in the second statement, you can see age is equal to 25 and salary you can see here is 45,000.50. So these are three variables. One variable is used to store the name, second is using for integer, and third we are using for float value. So when we will execute this cell, the values will store, okay. So to store the value, the statement must be executed by using control plus enter, okay. If you are entering here control shift and enter, so you can see here the this will jump to the next cell, or either this will generate one new cell, okay. So here now we want to print these values. So to print we are using here print function. So what we are doing now, we use only the variable name. Here the variable name is name, and to print we are using only the name. So whatever we have stored the value inside this variable, only the variable name is sufficient to print the value. Okay, and in the second variable we have the age 25. So here we are using only the variable name, which is age. Here is salary, which is 45,000. Okay, but we are using only the salary name. So when you will execute this shell, okay, when you will execute this shell, control and enter, you can see the values are printed here. Okay, Mehar Chand 25, 45,000. Okay, so name is the variable storing as string value, age is the variable storing an integer, and salary is the variable storing a floating value. So you can see all type of the data we can store by using this variable name. Now if you can see here very simple program here, name is Alice. Okay, I am using here my name on, my name is Mehar Chand. Okay, and also I can put here my affiliation BFGI Bathinda, India. Okay, so here you can see this is my some information along with my name, Okay, so here is age, and age 22 use here, we can use here 45. Okay, so these are the two variables which we have picked at the place and store the information. Now we are using the print function here, and see and observe this very carefully. So this is the entire string we have, and okay, so this string is stored inside name variable. So now I want to print name, and then after its value, which you can see here, and in the second statement I want to print age. Okay, age is variable name. Okay, and the value of age which we store is 45. So here this variable we are using here. So when I will execute, and you can see we have the name, and name is Mehar Chand BFJ Bathinda, India, and here we have only the age is 45. So in this way you can write a very small program, and you can see how we can use these variables after storing the value. Okay, now you can see one more example here. Why do we use the variable here? We have some information. Variable help us to store the data which we can use later. We can perform calculations if we are choosing some multiple variables A, B, C, D, and some values has been assigned, and after that we want to use some operation, just like addition can be subtraction, multiplication, division, or any mixed operation can be just like addition, multiplication, division all together. Okay, so whatever we want to perform, so by assigning the values to the variable we can use later. Modify the values during the program execution. If you want to update the value, we can do. Make programs flexible and reusable. Okay, so by storing the values, after that to use all these program can be very flexible, and we can reuse again anywhere. So sometimes we have the very large data set, and to store these values we can use a single variable. And just like you have the data set having 10,000 and row and 14 are columns, so this is very large data set, and according there are some variables according to the head name. Okay, so by using any variable we can store the entire data set in the single variable. So this is the feature why we are required to use this variable. Okay, so here you can see the example. Here we are taking the radius is 5. Okay, so the value of radius we have stored here, and we are using later to find out the area of a circle. So area of a circle we can have pi r square. The area of a circle is we have pi r square. So this is the formula. This is the value of pi, then radius into radius. Okay, or directly you can write here r square. Okay, so you can see here the value we store, and here we are using, and then we are using to print here. So area will be equal to area which will be computed here and will store inside this variable, and here we are required to pass this area is attribute. Okay, so here you can see when we will execute this shell, and we can have the output value. Area is 78.53975. Okay, so dynamic typing in the Python. What is dynamic typing? Dynamic typing means that the data type of the variable is determined automatically at runtime during the program execution. We are not required to define which type of the data we are using. So in the Python, this will automatically detect and determine which type of the data is there. You are not required to declare the type of the variable before using it. In Python, a variable can hold values of the different data type at different times. Okay, so here how this work, dynamic typing work. So when a value is assigned to the variable, Python create an object in the memory. Then Python determines the object data type, and third, the variable name reference that object. So these are the three steps where how this dynamic typing will work. So here you can see very simple. X is equal to 10. This is the integer. X is equal to 3.14. This is the float, and X is equal to Python string. So here we are using three type of the data, and we are printing X. So what happened here? The latest one. So this will start from this place. Okay, first this will update the integer. Then value will be updated as 3.14. Then the value of X will be updated as Python. So this is the last one. Okay, so this value is stored is X in the memory, and this value will print here. So when you are using print X, see only Python will be there. Okay, because all the values are updated. First it was 10, then value of X is 3.14, and then at the end we have X is equal to Python. So the latest and updated value in the Python is Python. Okay, so when you will use print X, this will print only the last statement. If you will comment this one, and again you will execute. So now comment we are using, this is not the part of the program. So we have only two values. So first this will store 10, then it will update using X is equal to 3.14, and when you will execute, you can see the latest value, which is 3.14, is there. Okay, so this is the dynamic typing work, how this is working. And here also you can see X is equal to 10, and by using type of function we can check the type of the data. So we are not defining which type of data we are using, but Python itself understand automatically without defining the type of the data we can use. So here the value of X is 10, then we are printing the type of the data. The value of X is 3.14. We are printing here to check the type of the data. Here X is equal to Python. Here we are using to print type data. So when you will execute this shell, and you will surprised to see that class of first we have is integer, class of second we have is float, and the class of third one we have is string. Okay, so all the data type we are not defined here, but it automatically understand and return the values. Now you can see the key characteristics of the variable which we can observe and go through the detail which we are trying to introduce here. Variables do not need explicit type declaration. Okay, values stored in the variable can be changed, just like you can see here at this place in this example. So the value which we have stored can be changed, or we can update the value according to our need. Okay, so variable names should be meaningful. When you are giving the name of the variable, that must be meaningful. So here you can see variable name are case sensitive. As you can see here, age is equal to 20, and here a is in uppercase is equal to 30. So these are the name of the variables. Okay, print age and print age. So see the sensitivity of the variable. So here only age which we store at a place is printed 20, and for this will print here 30. Okay, so in conclusion, Python variables are the building block of every Python program. They enable efficient store, retrieval, and manipulation of data while supporting flexibility through dynamic typing. Mastering variable and their associated concept lays the foundation for advanced topics such as function, object-oriented programming, data structure, data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and scientific computing. Thank you for your attention and participation. See you in the next lecture where we will continue exploring the execution world of the Python programming. Happy learning.